Yo, what's good, everybody? How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast. What's good, Jay? How you doing? Yeah, that song always gets me. That song is always kind of fire. That's why I had added into the countdown there. But how's everyone doing tonight? I hope you guys are having a great day, or middle of the day if you're on the West Coast, because I know a bunch of people on the West Coast as well. But other than that, how you guys doing tonight? Obviously, as you can tell, I'm running solo tonight. This might be a new thing just for a couple weeks. Obviously, with Caleb, he's still in school. He has stuff that he has going on. So obviously, there's a chance that for the next couple weeks, he'll definitely be in the comments when he can. It's just obviously with work and school. You know, I get it. Work and school kind of are more important. I get it. So that's why we're going to be running solo here tonight. Do want to give you guys a little update on what's going to be going on here with the podcast over the next couple months, because obviously we're dwindling closer and closer to the NFL draft. And obviously this is not my first year being a part of this as a part of during the NFL draft season, but it's the first time on YouTube. It's the first time on Renegade Roundtable podcast. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on what we're going to do. So right now, actually on March 17th, which is actually St. Patrick's Day, that's going to be right after the NFL Combine. Be prepared, because ladies and gentlemen, that will be our first 1.0 mock draft show. Mock drafts are so fun to do, and we always like to do them right after the Combine, because that's when things are really going to get interesting. So March 17th, mark your calendars. Make sure that you're here, because the Renegade Roundtable podcast mock draft 1.0 will be coming. And then typically what we like to do is do another mock draft a week or two before the NFL draft. And then obviously on Thursday is the NFL draft. We will be doing coverage with that on Revolution Radio's Facebook page. We're probably going to have it broadcasted in a lot of places, so you'll make sure we'll give you more information on that when those times become and when we start to get a little bit closer to the NFL draft, which we're starting to we're getting decently close here. It's crazy. The Super Bowl just happened on Sunday, and we're less than a month from free agency, which is insane here. And in fact, we are 69 days till the NFL draft. Nice. I did not even realize that till I just looked it up because I have a countdown timer for it. So that is absolutely nice. But until then, I do want to go ahead. I want to get started here because there are some things that were interesting about the Super Bowl that just happened on Sunday. Now, I get the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl. And obviously, I've been on record on numerous occasions. There was not a chance in hell I was going to be rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals. I just could not do it at all. And I get there was a lot of Steeler fans that did. And that's fine. That was your choice. I'm not going to completely bitch you out on it. But even though I've called out I pretty much called out the whole entire AFC North on multiple occasions about it. Because that's a different story for a different day. But obviously we know the results. Joe Burow and the Cincinnati Bengals, they did go on to lose in the Super Bowl 23-20 to the LA Rams. Now, there was a couple of observations that I noticed about it, and not even just the game itself, but events that led to after that. I saw the videos of the parade in LA. Now, we all understand, LA is Laker Nation. It's Laker Town through and through. We all know that. If there is a 1A team or if there's an A team for football, it would be the Rams in LA. Just like how the Angels are like the B team in LA, the Clippers. There's always, that's a Laker, Dodger, Rams town if you want to put it that way in terms of football. And the parade that I saw there, I looked at it and I'm like, are you kidding me? Because just look at how it was honestly pitiful at the lack of people that were honestly there. Because look at it this way, and I said this, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to attend a sports event championship parade. It was in Cleveland for the Cavs because we all know I'm a huge Cavs fan, and that was incredible. 1.3 million people were there. There were people camped out for days. It was there was not an inch of breathing space. There really wasn't. And that's what's crazy about this. And again, I hate Cincinnati. We all know this. But I could guarantee you, if the Cincinnati Bengals would have won that Super Bowl, that city would have been completely shut down. That place would have went nuts because they have two teams. They have the Reds and they have the Bengals. The Reds have at least won one. Now, I understand it was 5,000 years ago, but they've at least won a championship. The Cincinnati Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. And the fans down there were thriving. They were begging for the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. And I guarantee you, like I said, that place would have been insane. There would have not been an inch of breathing space. It doesn't matter if it was 50 degrees or minus 20 degrees. It was going to be insane. And there's a lot of cities that you know damn well that if their team won a Super Bowl, that whole entire city would have went crazy. But not LA. And I think that's one thing that kind of annoys me about LA. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I wanted LA to win. And it was not all because of the fact that I hate Cincinnati. It's not all of that. Part of it was I really wanted to see Aaron Donald win one. Aaron Donald deserves a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford deserves a Super Bowl. Yes, it was okay for about 10 minutes that I got to troll about OBJ on Twitter. But at the end of the day, I was happy to see Odell win one. Especially now knowing that he's probably going to have a second surgery on a second tear on the same ACL that he just tore, 18 months ago, if that? So I did feel, I was hoping that they won. I wanted to see Jalen Ramsey win one. Jalen Ramsey can honestly go down as one of the better corners in history, and that would have been a huge thing. That would have been a huge knock on him, is if he wouldn't have had a Super Bowl. Now he has one. Eric Weddle, it was a cool story. He finessed the system. He didn't have to go through two-a-days. He didn't have to go through training camp. He didn't even have to go through the regular season. He was just able to hop right into the playoffs and help contribute and win, while also suffering a torn pectoral muscle. So that was interesting, to say the least, with that. Now, again, back to this whole LA thing. LA fans are just I don't know what it is. I think it's just a mixture of how they are with the same with New York fans. They're annoying and obnoxious. And I guess you could add Boston into there too, because Boston has just become more spoiled than ever. It's just honestly insane just how much success that Boston has had in my lifetime. There have been certain fans, like for an example in Cincinnati, they have never won a championship in, let's just say, in the last 20 years. While Boston has won how many? They won what? They had one NBA Finals, obviously 6 Super Bowls. I don't know how many the Bruins had. I mean, just the Red Sox won, 2, 3, if I'm not mistaken. So they just been absolutely spoiled. And so I don't ever feel bad for them. Yankees fans can honestly kiss my ass, because Yankees fans are just so annoying. But yeah, that's just the thing with LA fans. And let me know down below how you feel about just certain fan bases in general, because I know for a fact, and Jay, I'll say this because you're in here and you're a Browns fan. And I'm not from the city of Cleveland, but I'm from, right by Cleveland. And I would know that if the Browns were to ever win a Super Bowl, which yeah. But if they were to ever win a Super Bowl, I literally think every single building would be torn down. It would be insane. And there are other cities that if they were to win a Super Bowl, Pittsburgh, if they would have won another Super Bowl, you could have guaranteed your ass I would have been there. There would have been a vlog that would probably have came out either yesterday, today, tomorrow, whatever. There would have definitely been a vlog for that, because I would have went. I know a lot of you Steeler fans would have went as well. So it's just, I think part of it too is, again, just the whole big market thing. And I understand that markets aren't necessarily as important in the NFL as it is like the NBA and especially Major League Baseball, because at the end of the day, you do have a hard salary cap. So it's like, okay, well, each and every owner have the same amount of money to spend. And here's another thing too that's very interesting about how LA won, because I think there was a lot of different franchises that were rooting against LA. And here's why. Because I think a lot of what LA has been doing is kind of uncultured compared to what a lot of NFL franchises believe in terms of stockpiling draft picks, build through the draft, and not selling all your draft capital and trading all that away to bring in free agents. And that's something that LA did. They went out, traded for, obviously, there was some picks. Aaron Donald, you drafted in 2014. But you traded for Jalen Ramsey. You traded for Matthew Stafford. You traded for Von Miller. And yes, again, you drafted Cooper Kupp. So there were some pieces that you did draft. But it was a lot of the key components of that team they traded for and used draft capital. That's why we're not going to see them have a first-round pick for like 10 years. And I think that's one thing that was interesting about LA winning, because we all know if LA would have lost that Super Bowl, this would have been a failure. Using all that draft capital and to not get a Super Bowl win out of it, that would have been devastating. But now it's worked. Now it's worth it, because you traded for Matthew Stafford. You got an upgrade at quarterback from Jared Goff. You have Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham with Robert Woods. That, as a trio of wide receivers, is a great wide receiver core. Now you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do at left tackle, because Andrew Whitworth is finally falling into the sunset, into the sunset, as a Super Bowl champion. There was a good shot. There was reports coming out from Rodney Harrison saying that there was a chance that Aaron Donald could have retired if they would have won a Super Bowl. Now that definitely doesn't sound like the case. I do think there's a possibility that Odell Beckham retires. Excuse me. I truly do believe that, because if you're looking at Odell is a guy that he's about to be 30. He's, again, coming off a second ACL tear in the same knee. He's about to have a baby. Why not go out as a Super Bowl champion? I think it'll all really depend. And it's not even about money, because we all know that Odell Beckham can make money. It's not even about that at all. It's just a matter of, I think, a mixture of, does he want to continue to play football? We're going to find out. And again, this goes back into a lot of the things that you always heard, and this especially came from rebuilding teams here. And I'm going to fix my camera for a second. There we go. These 4-year plans, these 5-year plans, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I think the Super Bowl just kind of completely wiped that down the window, or wiped that away. That's thrown in the trash. You're not going to see that anymore, because now you have to wonder whether teams are going to start to do the theory more of using draft capital on players that you know what you're going to get, rather than you don't know what you're going to get in the draft. It's not a for sure thing that a number 1 overall pick is going to be a great. I mean, Jared Goff he's not terrible. He's not Jamarcus Russell, but he's not the greatest either, as you saw that the Los Angeles Rams moved on from him. And then, obviously, yes, you have guys like Joe Burrow. Yeah, I'll just use that for an example. Guys like Joe Burrow, they're obviously franchise quarterbacks, franchise-altering players. And that's always something. And also, here's the other thing, too, is why the hell do you think you have 4 to 5 years to do anything in the NFL? You know how many head coaches have been fired after 2 or 3 years? No. I don't get where this whole 4-year, 5-year plan comes into play. Because who the hell is going to give you 4 to 5 years? That sounds like something Joe Judge would say, and you saw what happened to him. His ass got canned in New York. And I think that's the other thing too, is I'm going to be very interested to see how many more teams are going to use draft capital to get guys that they know are going to be good. How many teams are going to use the draft capital to go out and get a Deshaun Watson that you know after his legal stuff is figured out, a guy that you know is a franchise top tier quarterback, a guy that in 2020 was literally the leader in passing yards in the NFL with nobodies. I'm going to be interested to see what kind of team is going to make that kind of trade. I'm going to be interested to see if anyone's going to possibly trade for Aaron Rodgers if he wants to leave. Now there's a shot. Now it's more of maybe looking like he's going to stay in Green Bay, but that's going to be an interesting thing to see and figure out. And even if there's a guy that's going to be out on the market like for an example, with what the Steelers did with Minkah Fitzpatrick, we're all like, hold on, what? We traded a first-round pick for him? Because it's uncultured. We're not used to that. But what you did is you used a first-round pick on someone that you know is a stud. And Minkah Fitzpatrick has been a stud. So he was only in his second year. And he came from Alabama. You knew that he was going to be good. He started as a true freshman coming out of Alabama. You know how good you have to be to do that? That's why it's like, okay. And I will admit, I was one of those people that was kind of skeptical about it. But now I'm obviously, yes, the play has helped. That's my decision. But also, I think now it's going to be the era of football that we're in. Look at some of the teams that are going to be in need of quarterback. What are they going to do? Are they going to try to go in the draft and go with the guy that we don't necessarily know 100%? Or are they going to go and try and use draft capital to get one of those quarterbacks? Now, moving on to the Bengals here. I think a lot of fans are assuming that the Bengals are going to be back. They're going to be fine. They're going to be back. But I think there's a couple things that a lot of people are forgetting. First and foremost, for Steeler fans, we all said the same thing in 2010. Oh, yeah, we'll be back. All right, we lost. We'll be back. It's been over a decade and we have not been back yet. It's been, 11 years? We have not been back to a Super Bowl. So first and foremost, and again, the AFC itself is still insane. Still can't forget about Kansas City. There's still Buffalo. There's still teams like the Chargers that are going to be interesting because it's only a matter of time before Justin Herbert really, really starts to unleash hell on people. And I hate Baltimore, but Baltimore, we just have to remember the fact that they were injury hell last year, and at one point in time they were 8-3 and number one in the AFC. There are still great teams in the AFC, and we don't know. Is Joe Burrow going to be the next Dan Marino? Are we sure that Joe Burrow actually is going to make it back to another Super Bowl? Because obviously I was not born during the time of Dan Marino, but I would assume that everyone was like, oh yeah, Dan Marino will get back. And did Dan Marino ever get back? No, not at all. And yes, I get Joe Burrow is only in his second year in his first full season as the starting quarterback. But here's the other thing, too, that we need to take into consideration when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Brown, the owner of Cincinnati, is a cheap ass. Is he really going to spend a lot of money? Is he really going to change his mind and change his philosophy on how he's done things for the last few decades? Because look at it this way. You're going to have to eventually pay guys like maybe Jonah Williams, especially Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Obviously, you did go out in free agency, get guys like Trey Hendrickson, and get guys like Mike Hilton. But there's a lot of the key guys, the guys that really made things go with the offense, especially Joe Burrow. You're going to have to pay Joe. Joe Burrow is going to command a lot of money. Are we sure that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be back? Because I think a part of it too is a lot of people get stuck in Tom Brady land. And where Tom Brady's like, Tom Brady was able to do this with all these different receivers and blah, blah, blah. Again, we're talking about the greatest of all time when we're talking about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. That's something that needs to be considered when it comes to with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like, and another thing too that's kind of annoying when it comes to fans itself is just the fact that we're all, again, going back to Tom Brady land, we've all been brainwashed into thinking that every team's going to end up being the next new dynasty. I'm sorry, that's not how it always goes. Kansas City right now, yes, they've been to 4 AFC Championship games. They've been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. But at the end of the day, are they going to be the next dynasty? Dynasties are hard in the NFL. What New England did has honestly brainwashed a lot of fans. And like I said before, going back into the draft stuff, if your team is on the cusp, if you feel like your team is good enough that you're a quarterback away, like say for an example, we'll use Tampa Bay in 2020 without Tom Brady. They were, with that roster, they were a quarterback away. They had what, the 12th, 13th, 14th pick, somewhere in that range. Say quarterback X is available and we'll just throw out the name Deshaun Watson for an example. Why not use the draft capital on a guy like Deshaun Watson, who is a franchise elite quarterback? And why not go and then, especially in that situation, now you have a guy he's going to be around for such a long time. It's going to be interesting to see what happens for teams that are on the cusp or teams that feel like they are a quarterback away. And this also is going to kind of lead into my next topic, which is talking about quarterbacks not only in the draft, but also in just in Pittsburgh itself. Because, again, as I talked about last week, it seems like every single option that you put out for a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, fans are just saying no. And I kind of did this theory today on Twitter. I did it, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put out a bunch of guys in Steeler uniforms and just say, person, whatever, Steeler quarterback 2022. Did Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's interesting. He's going to command a lot of, again, draft capital, but he's a guy that you know is elite. Aaron Rodgers, he's up there in age. He would command a lot of draft capital, but you know he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And he's been to how many straight NFC Championship games? And then I started doing a couple of the quarterback for this draft class. Matt Corral. Jimmy Garoppolo. I know he's not a part of this draft class. A lot of people are like, hell no to Jimmy Garoppolo. Hell, I even had people say no to Kenny Pickett. Like, what? What? Why? Because of his hand size? If you could throw the football, you could throw the football. Obviously, Mason Rudolph I put in there. I knew a lot of people were going to say hell no, including myself. And then there's even guys like Malik Willis, I apologize. Jameis Winston, which it's seeming like he's coming back very strong now. It's going to be interesting. He's a guy that could be interesting as well. He's a low risk, high reward guy. Because look at it this way. We'll talk about Jameis Winston for a second. Jameis Winston, he didn't play a full year last year. Obviously, he only played in 7 games. You could probably get him. He played for how much money? Not shit last year. We'll say at most. Maybe he commands, what, $8 million? I mean, you're paying Joe Schobert $10 million. Why not try to get $8 million for Jameis Winston? See what happens. Jameis Winston, he's willing to be coached. We all know that Matt Canada is a pain in the ass, so we understand that. Jameis Winston can be coached, and let's see what happens. You have another year under with this offensive line, where again, I forget his name, but we just got a new offensive line coach. And one thing that's kind of concerning is the fact that his offensive lines over the last few years, in terms of rankings, have not been that well. But we're going to see what he can do with us. But Jameis Winston's a very interesting cat. But again, you're going to say no to people. Carson Wentz is a guy who's like, okay, I can understand why people are saying no. If there was any team or any situation that he was going to be rejuvenated by, it would have been in Indianapolis with Frank Wright, who he was with when he was having his MVP season. And I think that 2020 season just completely messed him up because he just got the yips. He was seeing ghosts, and now don't get me wrong, he was fine, but he wasn't great. It was just like and I don't know. It's just this whole entire thing with the quarterback situation, and we don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen. And you know what? Here, let's go ahead and let's look at this real quick. So I have, so we're gonna go ahead. So Todd Mcshay here. We'll switch it over here. So
With
Todd,
Geico, we can easily bundle home and car insurance and save even more.
Yeah, just try that breakfast burrito.
There isn't too much hot sauce, is there?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I didn't need to add. All right, so Todd Mcshay's new mock draft here. You know what? We'll just go through it real quick, and because it'll show what he has the Steelers doing, and oh my Lord, have mercy. So Jacksonville number 1 taking Evan Neal. To some, that would be a surprise. To me, that's not a surprise at all. In fact, I think this is probably the better option for them. Aiden Hutchinson at number 2 doesn't surprise me at all. He stays in Michigan. This was the first little bit of a surprise. Houston taking
15 minutes
Kyle
could save
Hamilton,
you 15% or more
and
on
again, we
car
are getting
insurance.
I know
more
that.
videos.
Well, did you know that former pro...
Apparently, ESPN, all they want to do is just continuously play ads. Great. They make more money. That is just awesome. But Houston taking Kyle Hamilton. I mean, I could see them like going offensive line, or even Kayvon Thibodeau as well, get him another pass rusher. But, I mean, whatever, cool. Kyle Hamilton is supposed to be great, stud. Jets get taken offensive lineman, great. Have no problem with that. Kayvon Thibodeau dropping to the Giants at number 5 is honestly insane. And then, again, they drafted Azeez Ojulari last year. More ads. ESPN, stop! Stop! You don't need more money! God damn! My Lord. And so there we go. So now we're looking at Carolina, which is what I call a pressure point. This is the first pressure point for a quarterback. Team that will need a quarterback. They go and get Ahmad Sauce Gardner, a corner. I think it's going to end up being a mixture of him. Well, because they also went and drafted J.C. Horn last year, who ended up tearing his Achilles. And then also Charles Cross. It's going to be one of those two guys, honestly. Speaking of Charles Cross, number 7 to the Giants. So you get you get linemen on each side of the ball there. Atlanta taking Drake London, cool. You know, probably figure out what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley. Devin Lloyd is a guy. He's going to help out their defense as well. They went and got Patrick Surtain last year. Why not help continue with the front 7? Derek Stingley, again with the Jets. What the hell is his name? Robert Saleh, head coach there. You know he's going to want guys like Derek Stingley. Dude's a dog. And then here we go. So here's where it's the interesting part. So here we get the first quarterback off the board. Now, like I said, number 6 is a pressure point, but you're starting to get that vibe that it really may not be a quarterback there. Really, the first real pressure point, I think, is going to end up being Washington here at number 11. And as we see, they're taking Kenny Pickett. There's still guys like Jameis Winston. Again, or are they going to maybe trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Malik Willis. This is where it's interesting. What teams are going to have who as their QB1 on their board, on their radar? And Kenny Pickett's a guy. He seems like a safe pick out of the quarterbacks here. I don't think that they're really all that. I don't think they believe that Taylor Heineke could take him to the promised land. So why not try and get yourself Kenny Pickett? Minnesota taking Trent McDuffie. Cleveland taking Garrett Wilson. That honestly hurts me because I love Garrett Wilson. But yes, this is something that they do need. 14, the Baltimore Ravens taking Tyler Linderbaum. Again, this doesn't surprise me, but also I hate it because Tyler Linderbaum is a guy that I would be okay with the Steelers taking if he were to somehow drop and not go to Baltimore, not have one of these other teams. Because, again, I've said on the past before, I'm not necessarily fully opposed to not taking a quarterback in this draft class. Especially if you're going to take a Jameis Winston, then maybe you go and continue to build on your offensive line. Why not use your first 2 picks on offensive linemen? We shall see. Philly taking Nakobe Dean. Yeah, they've taken. It says the Eagles have taken just 1 linebacker in the first round in over 40 years. Damn. And then again, they go and get 2 back defensive players at number 16. And here is where things become interesting. Because now we have the first and I believe only trade that he has in this mock draft, that Todd Mcshay has. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trading up to number 17 with the Chargers to take Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. Now, as we all know, as we have all seen reported, I have people that have been down, that was down in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, they fell in love with Malik Willis. And it's not hard to ever find out who the Steelers are in love with. They don't hide it at all. It was the same what happened with Najee Harris last year. They did not hide it at all. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how the board is going to work out. Because we're going back. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Because it is Throwback Thursday. Remember back in 2019 with the Dwayne Haskins situation. Obviously, Daniel Jones goes number 6 to the New York Giants. Then you're starting to ask yourself, okay, before that, does Washington need to trade up if they want Dwayne Haskins? But instead, they let the draft come to them, and their guy fell right into their lap. Now, is that going to happen every time? No. But it's all going to depend on it. We're going to see what happens in the combine, in the pro days. We'll see, because there have been some risers that we've seen with quarterbacks before, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with guys like Malik Willis. I think a guy that's really going to be interesting is what Sam Howell does at his combine / pro day. But obviously, in this case, Pittsburgh has Todd McShay has the Steelers taking Malik Willis here, so they're taking their quarterback to replace Ben Roethlisberger. And this is Todd McShay's number 1 quarterback. Willis has the strongest arm in the class, and I actually do disagree with that. I think that's Carson Strong in terms of arm strength, and can create outside the pocket. Yes, his dual threat ability is insane. There are some concerns that I have with Malik Willis, and in fact, I just recently, within the last day or so, just recorded a draft profile for Malik Willis, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I'll have that coming out in the next day or so, breaking down some of the film of Malik Willis. But yeah, he's a developmental quarterback. Again, you really like him because of his maneuverability. He can make plays on his legs. He's able to stretch plays out, but there are certain things that are kind of concerning. Part of it is he's not good with anticipating throws, and he also can lock onto receiver on his primary receiver. But again, those are all developmental things that him, Matt Canada, Mike Tomlin are all going to have to work on. And then here, so number 18, the Saints, and again, in this case, we're trading up to number 17, which would be, as again, kind of uncharacteristic for us because we don't really trade up much. That's why when we traded up for to number 10 in 2019 for Devin Bush, that's kind of interesting as well. But again, the Saints are a team that are going to need a quarterback if they don't bring back Jameis Winston, and they have them taking Matt Corral. We all know Taysom Hill is not the franchise quarterback. So, then Philadelphia taking Treylon Burks here, and then Chargers with that 20th pick taking Jordan Davis here. So those are all interesting things here to discuss when we get into talking about the NFL draft. And we're going to go back to full screen here. Because, again, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed with the draft in terms of, again, in terms of the draft, the combine, the pro days, and all that. There's a lot there's a lot that's going to go into that, and we're going to see lists do this and this and this. This is very similar to what happened in the 2018 draft when you had when it ended up, it was Baker, Darnold, Lamar, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen. You didn't know. A lot of people had Sam Darnold at number 1. And then it was like within the last day or two of the draft, then Baker started getting to the list, because at one point in time it was Sam Darnold, then it was Josh Allen, and it was just one of those deals. And again, it's not like we know that Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray is going number 1. We know that. And we knew that at that time. In this situation, we don't know. And that's what kind of makes it fun. I like having anticipation. We don't know who's going to go in the first pick, because there's like 3 or 4 different options there. Are they going to take one of the pass rushers? Are they going to go with Evan Neal? We don't know. And that's what makes this draft is going to be fun. And like I said, at the beginning of the show, we are going to be covering the NFL draft. Like I said, I will get more information on that as time comes, as we get more information with that. As I'm just looking through my Twitter real quick. So another thing too that was interesting is I put a post out, and in fact, here, let me find it real quick and I'll pull it up here. Let me find it here. We'll get this out for you real quick. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Actually, no. I want to do this. All right, there we go. Perfect. So we're going to go switch screen real quick. So I posted this on Twitter, and it was on the Renegade _table podcast Twitter. Be sure to go follow us, by the way. If you had to choose one of these quarterbacks to start in 2022, who would you choose? And the options were, obviously, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, Dwayne Haskins, or Jimmy Garoppolo. And again, there's some other quarterbacks that I didn't even mention that are possibilities. Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr. Derek Carr's, I mean, it's going to be interesting because he's going to probably get like $35, $36 million, depending on where he's going to go, if he stays in Las Vegas or not. But yeah, Marcus Mariota is a guy that's going to be interesting to see as well. Even a guy like Mitch Trubisky, what is going to happen with him? But I asked, who out of those 4 quarterbacks, who would you want to have starting for the Steelers in 2022? We'll go through some of the comments here. So let's go. Pens says Jimmy is the best out of the bunch. Wentz might work better for Canada's system though, but Jimmy is better. My issue with Carson Wentz is, again, I just have the yips, and I just get bad vibes when it comes to Carson Wentz. Parker, I know Parker, he's trolling here. Geno Smith, all right, cool, whatever. Russell Wilson, I don't think he's leaving. I don't think he's going to end up leaving Seattle. Anyone but Winston. Effects, we're going to comment right now on air live. Why not Winston? We're just going to do this right now. In fact, we'll be grammatically correct here. We're just going to do this live on air because why the hell not? So we're going to go ahead. We'll comment why not Winston. Haskins. I mean, we know Haskins. He's a guy that he's still young, but I'm going to be interested to see how his mental is going to be and how he prepares himself, knowing that there's a shot to actually become the QB1 in this for the Steelers of 2022. I think Jimmy G is the best fit currently. He's a guy that you don't have to ask a whole lot for him. He's a winner. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to another. He just came from the AFC or the NFC Championship game, and again, people shit on him. And I think and I did this before, like I said, where I put out stats and his records and all that, and people, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then the moment you say it's Jimmy Garoppolo, ew, no. Well, there you go. Caleb, he's going to go with his boy Malik Willis. He also goes to Liberty. I completely get that, understand. And this man, he wants to become Eric Boylan 8. So I'm assuming he's going to wear the number 8, and he wants to be the Steeler QB in 2022. And then Jameis, famous Jameis here, from Thrash, whatever. He's the only QB free agent that I'd be okay with. Carson Wentz, if he could stay healthy, I would probably say that too, but that is a big if. That is also a big if Carson Wentz could stay healthy. We just simply don't know, and we just simply don't know where his mental is either. Again, famous Jameis. And then you got, obviously, guys like Kenny Pickett, Jameis Winston, Jacoby Brissett. It's going to be real interesting. But real quick, guys, someone is knocking on my door. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go figure out what the hell's going on, because I'm mostly here by myself. So give me 1 second. Never mind, guys. That was a false alarm. I thought there was someone knocking on my door, but there was no one knocking on my door. So here we are. We are back here. All right, I want to go back to full screen here. I do apologize for that. Hey, what's up, Eleanor? How you doing tonight? I do apologize. I had to step out for a second. I thought there was someone knocking on my door. But you know what? We're live here, so this is what happens. We are live. We're here. I do want to say, too, just also while we're here, because I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to end off a couple minutes early, unless you guys have something else you want me to discuss. NBA All-Star Game is this weekend, this Sunday. It's in Cleveland. I have my jersey here ready to go. I fully anticipate, here we go, Darius Garland. I fully anticipate on trying to go to that game. We're going to see what happens. This Saturday is the dunk contest. I have a dunk contest video that will be coming out. I also have a interesting UFC video that's coming out. Conor McGregor best shit talking video. I have that coming out. And then just let me know down below. What do you guys want to see? What kind of videos do you want me to start putting out? Because I'll put out. Maybe I'll start to figure out a way to do some gaming. Maybe do some Madden videos. Those would be interesting as well. Just let me know down below. What do you guys want us to do here on the channel? You can comment down, here on the stream. Or you can comment down on any of the other videos. Just let me know down below. Or in any of the videos. Or honestly, hit my DMs as well. Hey, say like, hey, I want to see you do this or that or blah, blah, blah. Just let us know down below. It's 6:46 here. I'm going to give you guys about a minute or so. If you guys want to discuss anything before we head on out of here. Oh, you know what? No, we have one other thing we need to discuss. I completely forgot about this. So I teased I teased on Twitter. I started teasing this thing of, are the Steelers closer in the AFC North race than most are going to be reported or expected? The reason why I say that is, again, we talked about the Cincinnati Bengals. We're all going to predict that they're going to win the AFC North. Again, we also don't know what kind of hangover they may or may not have. We also don't know what they're just going to do in terms of, are they going to try to really build on this offensive line some more? We don't know. We're going to see. Pittsburgh, we'll get to Pittsburgh last. Baltimore is a team that right now, from what I've been hearing from reporters in Baltimore, fans are not necessarily. We don't know what's going to happen with Lamar. Lamar is obviously he doesn't have an agent, so it's kind of like we're on his time in terms of if/when a contract extension is going to happen. So it's the question of when, or is this going to be kind of like a Kirk Cousins thing where it's going to be go to a 5th-year option and then maybe go like franchise tags? We don't know. We thought after the 2019 season when he won the MVP, we're like, oh yeah, he's going to get paid a boatload. Now we don't necessarily completely know. And that's something that's interesting. Cleveland is a team that on paper they have talent. They have one of the better offensive lines of football. Their defense played better down the stretch than maybe some had anticipated. Obviously, Baker is a huge question mark, and also their wide receiver core could very well be decimated. Jarvis Landry, he's worth he's making what, $16 million or $15 million, whatever it is. He's not going to play on that under that contract. It's either he's going to restructure or he's going to be out of here, especially with what happened with Odell. There's a good shot that Jarvis would be out of there. So they're really going to have to rebuild that wide receiver core. So I think the AFC North is not completely out of the realm of possibilities of doing something in the AFC North. We really don't know. And again, I could be doing the same game that I did before of trying to convince myself that the Steelers have a better shot than they actually do, because, well, the hell, I did that in the wild card game against Kansas City. So we started making up a bunch of reasons why they could win this, they could win this game, and blah blah blah, and instead they got absolutely obliterated. We don't know. It's going to be all based on the quarterback. And who are they going to get? They're going to trade for someone. We really don't know. And also, could there be a plan in process of who is the next GM? Because obviously Kevin Colbert this is going to be his final draft. Is Kevin Colbert going to do what Ozzie Newsome did with Baltimore in his final draft in 2018? He ended up getting Hayden Hurst. He got him a tight end because they needed a tight end that year. And then they got Lamar Jackson. Is Kevin Colbert going to leave us with our franchise quarterback? We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Or what is going to happen if they don't take a quarterback this year? Are they going to maybe try and get a quarterback next year? Are they really determined to give either Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins a shot? Are they going to go after one of the free agent quarterbacks? We just simply do not know. And that's what's interesting about this. And it's very, very, very unfamiliar territory because, again, for the millionth time, all I knew was Ben Roethlisberger. So we've just been blessed with one of the better quarterbacks, the best quarterback in that 2004 class by far, but one of the better quarterbacks in the era, a top 6, top 5 quarterback in a lot of statistical categories of all time. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team and how they're going to move forward in terms of trying to find the guy to take over for Ben Roethlisberger. We just simply do not know. But I do think we're going to end it off here. Again, I do say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I did have fun with this show today. And until then, if you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe, all of that. If you haven't yet, go and follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Kirby99. Make sure and go and follow Caleb as well at CRF Trains. CRF Trains. Make sure to go and follow him on Twitter as well. And also make sure to go and follow Revolution Radio on Facebook, facebook.com/Revolution Radio Live, or on Twitter at Rev Radio Live. We are broadcasted from Revolution Radio as always. And I'm also, why the hell, I might as well promote this as well. I'm also on a new podcast with my man Dean Samples, the Hotspot Podcast, each and every Monday on Revolution Radio's Facebook page. Make sure to go and follow us on Twitter at the Hotspot_pod. But until then, I think we are going to head on the hell out of here. I do want to say again, thank you so much. stay safe. Let me know down below or in my DMs or whatever, is anyone going to be at the All-Star game this weekend? If so, definitely make sure to let me know. I want to meet as many people as I can down there. But until then, again, stay safe, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Stay safe for the 4th time, and peace out.